5 minutes from Pennsylvania.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here today and for your service to our country. As you know, we have immigration laws for two basic reasons: to protect our national security and to protect American jobs. Unless and until we have complete control of our borders, it will remain impossible to fulfill this obligation. And I'm pleased that we have a partner in the White House who is actively working towards this goal to ensure the safety and prosperity of the American people. Now, I have dealt with this firsthand and the consequences of our federal government's failure to enforce our immigration laws. I was the mayor of a city that had an illegal immigration problem. We are 2,000 miles away from our nearest southern border. I don't need to be briefed on this issue. I lived it every single day. Our population in Hazleton grew by nearly 50%, but our tax revenue stayed the same. It became impossible for cities like ours, small cities, to deal with the problems that comes with the problem of illegal immigration, such as drugs, gangs, identity theft, fraud, and everything else that happens with it. I came down to Washington in December of 2005 and asked for help. I met with the Department of Justice, and they were great. They brought in all these experts to talk to me, and at the end of the meeting, at the end of the day, I got this nice coffee mug. I got a lapel pin, I got a pat on the back, and they sent me home. Very shortly after that, a 29-year-old city man, Derek Kishline, father of 3 little children, he had some words with the head of the Latin Kings, who was in the country illegally, a man that was arrested 6 times and left go in sanctuary cities. The man went and got a gun, stuck it between Derek's eyes, shot and killed him. We spent half of our yearly budget in overtime in the police department in catching him and his buddy. I had to sit with Mr. and Mrs. Kishline, and I had to sit with the family and explain why this man was still in the country and their son is gone. I had enough at that point. The federal government failed us. They weren't going to do anything. I created the first law in America as a mayor to try to deal with that problem, and I was sued immediately by illegal aliens. So here we are, 2018, and we're still talking about it. I've always been told that we must have compassion for the people who come here illegally, but no one speaks up for the victims of these crimes. Mr. Ampenson and Ms. Pepperdine, what do you see as the most effective means of deterring illegal immigration once and for all? And tell me how sane enforce our immigration laws. I was sued being a mayor wanting to enforce our laws, and now we have over 380 mayors thumbing their nose at the federal government, creating safe havens for people who are in the country illegally. I'd like to hear your opinion.
Well, you mentioned it there, enforce the laws that we have on the books. In the Del Rio sector, we were the first ones to implement what was previously called Operation Streamline, which meant that anybody arrested crossing the border illegally in our sector went to jail for some period of time. If it was your first time crossing, you might see a week, 10 days maybe. If you had crossed multiple times, you're going to see more time in jail. And ultimately, I don't have the percentage, but it led to a significant drop in apprehensions in our sector. And that deterred, at least in our area, but then it just pushed it elsewhere. With the interior of the country, it's gotten to a point where they feel once they pass the border, they're home free. There are no repercussions to being illegally present in the U.S., and we do have laws on the books to do this. We do. There's no reason not to enforce them, but that's what's been going on.
Thank you. Ms. Pepperdine?
I agree with Mr. Ampenson. I also believe assurance of apprehension at the border is a huge deterrent in illegal immigration. You asked about the safe havens. They definitely hurt us in the long run, not just us as agents doing our job, but the American people.
I'd like to apologize to all the families across this country who are victims of illegal immigration. You know, the focus is always on the illegal immigrant that comes here for a better life, but there are families there that have lost loved ones, and here we are. And I hope once and for all we do the right thing and secure our borders, and then deal with the problem on the interior. Thank you.
Gentleman yields back.